Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episode 2 of Kakegurui Twin. So, just as a reminder, this is a 6-episode spin-off prequel for the Kakegurui series, basically giving us backstory on Mary Saotome and how she became the crazy bitch she was in episode 1 of the main series, or chapter 1, I guess, of the manga. Because as of episode 1 of Twin here, we see she's very different. She has goals and motivation, she has determination, but she's at the academy to try and basically give them a big fuck you, to tell them that I'm going to prove to you that it's not all about status and wealth and everything. And it's like Mary comes from a well-off family. Her family is wealthy. It's like that's made very clear. But she's nowhere near in the ballpark of the others. Like, most of the people there, especially those in the student council and stuff, are obscene levels of wealth. And on top of it, Mary comes in without any, like, excess money. I mean, she even, like, brings a thermos to school. No one does that. So, none of them do that. I mean, like, I brought a thermos to school or whatnot, but... or a lot of times juice boxes and Capri Suns. Either way, you get the general idea. But in her first gamble there, she ends up winning 200,000, which she then uses to try and basically earn a gambling den. Her big first goal in the academy is to gain a gambling den to try and gain some level of status. In a way, you could say. She's trying to gain some level of status so she can start building herself up a little bit at a time. And gaining this gambling den is the way to start doing so. It'll help her start to earn revenue, start to earn power, start to get people under her and everything. And we see in this goal, she has a single friend with her. This other girl at the school who is absolutely smitten with her. Like, she is so fucking gay for her, it is not funny. And I am entirely into it. Like, I mentioned in the first episode, it's like the main series is super fucking gay. It does not hide this, it does not hold back. Like, you watch the openings alone to Kakegurui and Kakegurui XX, and it's like, oh my god, it is so fucking gay. But then you, like, see specific examples, just even if a lot of it's played for, you know, the over-the-top laughs and parodies of the series, it's like you see even some kind of genuine relationships, even from the president of the student council, Kirari, and her right hand. Like, when she jumps out of the tower after her and everything, and they share that really tender moment after they land in the flowers and all, it's like, this is actually really fucking sweet and cute, and oh my god, I actually ship them really fucking hard. And it's like the series clearly does too. But it's like it plays around with this a lot. Again, usually because of the series being an over-the-top parody and over-the-top satire on this kind of thing, it's going to be very over-the-top most of the time. Like, there's parts where Mary and Yumiko in the original series work together, and they'll, like, be holding it onto each other and stuff, being very close, like cheeks touching and stuff, and being very sexy and stuff, because that's what this series kind of goes for. But then you also see, like in the first episode, this girl looks at Mary with just these giant wide eyes and calls her prince. Seeing Mary as someone who is there to sweep her off her feet and into her arms. And it's like, if that's not fucking love, I don't know what is. Like, that's not lust. This series deals with more of lust a lot of the time, um, as part of its over the top exceptional nature. But that is love. She genuinely loves her. Like, really fucking hard. And it's like I'm actually really into that, because it's like I feel like we haven't seen it enough in the main series, and I think that's the point, and I get that that's the idea, that it's mostly supposed to be over the top and just ridiculous. So seeing something like Kirari and her right hand being that intimate in that one scene, for example, is out of the ordinary and isn't something you see often. But I still want to see more of that too. And it's just, I want to see more of that in general and a lot of stuff. It's just that just genuine, wholesome, queer relationship. And while what we see and hear from Mary is that she sees her as a friend at this point, and she does accept her as a friend by the end of the first episode, I don't think this is going to end well, unfortunately. Because we know where Mary goes as a character, and we know she gets better during the course of the original series. That from the beginning of Kakegurui season 1 and going into XX, she does progressively get better and becomes more of a good guy by that point, working with Yumiko and them on occasion. But this is clearly a story about her downfall. This prequel is telling us how she became so much a part of this academy. How she went from being someone who wanted to prove them wrong to just becoming one of them. It's not a story that's going to end well. And considering we know that this girl is not in the main series, at least not as of now, it makes me wonder if she left the academy, or if something even worse might have happened to her. Because remember, they made a point in episode 1 of Twin here, of this of our main villain of the series, clearly saying, like, if you're a mittens to me and I tell you to die, you will kill yourself. And it's like, yeah, it's like we knew that they had this kind of attitude in the main series, but it's like, Jesus, still, my God. And it makes me really concerned. And here's what it makes me specifically concerned for. As Mary continues her downfall, as Mary becomes one with this academy and becomes corrupted by it, I'm scared that she's going to do this to this girl. She's going to become corrupted, and she's going to tell this girl to hurt herself or to die or something. And because this girl loves her so genuinely, she's going to do something to herself, and it's going to get her either really badly hurt, or they possibly might even go all the way and have her die. And I'm really genuinely concerned about that. I don't want that to happen, but I am so concerned it will. Because, again, we know where Mary starts off in the main series. We know how bad she is. She is a fucking bitch. But my God, it's like her story. It's why she's my favorite character. She has so much depth and potential for her. And to see that this series is a corruption series, that it's not about her being redeemed, it's about her being corrupted, that's what this backstory is giving us, it's scary. And that's why I talked about in the first episode, in the afterthoughts, that's probably why we didn't even see as many crazy faces that we're used to with this franchise in the first episode. That they're probably going to build up to that to show how deep into it Mary eventually is going to get. I am concerned. And the fact that this is only 6 episodes, either there's going to be more in the future, or they're going to be going through or this is going to be short. It could be either or. I don't know. I don't know how long the manga is, so I can't say on that. But what I will say is that the first episode was still good. It was a slow start, but it was still good. And I'm still invested in this series. I'm still invested to see what happens next. So let's just find out. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Well, that changes a lot. Okay. So, this kind of, you could say this episode split into 2 portions. One of which shows Midori and kind of gives a little bit of a focus on her. And the second half goes back to the main story. So let's talk about the Midori stuff first. So, the Students' Council sends the beautification group to collect the payments from Midori on her dens and everything. And so she challenges them to a gamble. She's like, if you beat me, then I'll pay you everything. Right here, right now. It's like, if I beat you, fuck off. And the leader is like, you know what? Fine, whatever. And Midori's like, choose the game. Whatever game you want. Looks around the room. And we find out later that it's all set up. They knew they were coming. So Midori set up the room in a specific way to basically set things up for the game. It's like, oh, there's all this stuff around all these different games, but they're all longer games. So the leader of the beautification squad, I don't remember her name, but she centers on the dice and chooses those. Let's play a dice game, which is kind of a theme for the episode, dice games. She's like, let's play a dice game, and kind of go from there, basically. So they decide to play a very, very simple game. Basically, one of them rolls the dice, the other person guesses even or odds. If the die is on an even number or an odd number. It's really fucking simple. The beautification squad leader guesses even. It is a 6, so it is even. And she gets her money. And we find out that she had seen through the ruse that Midori set up. Midori had set it up, like I said, because she wanted the beautification leader to specifically play a dice game. Everything was set up in the room for her to choose that. So the dice she had was loaded, which the beautification leader noticed. But she also noticed that when Midori threw the dice into the cup, she actually swapped it out with another one. Now, she thought that the dice she swapped in was also loaded. But we find out afterwards that that was not the case, that it was a normal, just completely fair die. She thought it was also loaded, and so since the first one that was loaded to go for odd, she automatically assumed this one had to be even. So she chose even on that, but because it was a regular die and wasn't loaded, it was up to luck. Which again, checks with Midori. She likes the danger. She likes the risk of gambling. It gets her off. So by switching in the unloaded die, who knows what's going to actually happen? That's the kind of risk that Midori likes. So it could have ended either way. But she paid the amount, and it all just kind of went ahead. She offered to go even further, but that bait wasn't taken. So this almost seemed kind of random compared to the rest of the episode. It didn't seem to connect too much. It was just kind of bringing in the idea of a dice game and kind of reintroducing us to those of us who have seen the main series and everything to Midori as a character, and showing us that yeah, she's always been kind of batshit. So no real changes there. But then we go into our main storyline. So our crew is trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to do to get this gambling den, not gambling den. What are we going to do to get this gambling den up and running? How are we going to run this? They decide to kind of work on a few ideas. The girl with the glasses, the former owner of the den, decides on the idea of these maid costumes and everything. Do sort of like this maid cafe theme, which Mary was questioning at first, but came to realize by the end that it was actually an exceptionally smart idea. And I agree. The instant I saw it, it's like, that works. That works exceptionally well. People like maids. Like, the convention I go to and help staff, Youmacon, here in Detroit, we have a maid cafe there. Because people fucking like maids. It's a trope. It's a trope. It's a kink. People are into that. They just always have been. And you could say the same about butlers too. People have always been into that kind of trope. And so by having the girls dressed in maid costumes, it gets people's attention, especially the guys. But in very clear case of this series, also plenty of girls would probably be into it as well. But it allows them to get people in there. They also have a rule implemented. You can gamble in this den 3 times per person per day, which means it keeps people coming back. But it also gives them chances to win. By having the games also be simple, such as with the dice game that we see, which I'll get into, it allows them the chance to win so that they will have a reason to come back. It keeps it fair, keeps it even. It doesn't make it so that they're just going to win everything. But it allows them to still win. And so we see these 2 guys go in and we see them gambling, and yeah, there is a pretty fair, even scoring to it. And it works out. So, we are then reintroduced to Runa. Fun to see her again. Playing some Street Fighter. It's very clearly Street Fighter. With this new guy named Aoi. Sachiko comes up to Aoi and is like, I need you to take care of something for me. You see, this new girl, Mary Satome, she stole my den from under my nose. I need you to go pay her a visit. Maybe break a leg or 2. No. But that's kind of the vibe I got from it, though. But he agrees to do so. He's clearly working directly under her. And so next we go, Mary's late coming to the den that day. So Aoi goes and the other 2 decide to handle him. Once Mary comes in, she realizes 2 gambles have already been done with him, and they are up 3 million because he's betting big. He bet 1 million the first time and lost. Second game, he doubles that to 2 million, loses again, so 3 million total. And now the third game, now that Mary's there, he doubles it once again to 4 million. And this is apparently a specific gambling method. She realizes that he figured it out. He starts to talk to her. He starts to tell her that, yeah, he's got it down. He knows exactly how it's played, exactly how to kind of manipulate it. And it's not perfect. It's very clear that there is still a chance that the person who picks first could win. The person who picks second might still win as well. There is still some chance to it, but there's a very good probability that the person who picks second will win. By realizing how this is played exactly, he was able to manipulate the betting to be able to work it properly, so that in the end, after having already bet 3 million, he wins the 4 million bet, meaning they owe him the 3 million they already won and an extra 1 million. However, he takes the 3 million but allows them to keep the last 1 million and tells them, like, I'll let you keep that. I feel it would be bad for your den if I took it. But in exchange, you have to do something for me. Basically, he's exchanging the money for a favor. It's like, you can keep the money. I'm not going to be worried about that. I won't collect it. No one will come to collect it for me. But you have to do me a favor instead. Help us take out Kirari Momobami. And it's like, oh, fuck. Because it's, again, we know nothing's going to come of it. We know that in the main series, which this is a prequel to, Kirari is still the head of the student council. And this actually could explain why Sachiko and them are not in the main series. They tried to take out the fucking president. They're not there anymore. Put 2 and 2 together. So that's interesting. That's what their goal is. That their goal is to take out Kirari. We do see a little bit of the student council shown in this. We do get to see Kirari like getting a report from Sayaka. And although it doesn't like really go into it here, it's like you saw the eyes that Kirari was giving her. It's like I am so into that ship. Like, you have no idea. Like I said in the reaction, I like that ship even more than like Yumiko and Mary in the main series. And I like Yumiko and Mary as a ship. I also like Mary with Kirari's sister, the girl with the mask. I can never remember her name. I like that ship too. That one really went in season 2. But it's like this easily my favorite ship because there's just so much to it. There's not just fuel to it, but there's actual canon evidence of it. I talked about how in season 2, how Kirari jumped out of the tower following Sayaka, and they landed in the flowers and had that tender moment together. It's just like, be still, my gay heart. I love queer representation in media so fucking much. And even when it's done super over the top in this series, when you have moments of genuine tenderness like that, it's just, it hits me hard. It's really fucking good. So it's like, the instant I saw them and saw Kirari looking at Sayaka like that, it's just like, my heart started beating. I'm just like giddy. Even if there was no like real heavy stuff in there. But we saw like some of the other student council shown like briefly and all, and yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how this all goes down, because I guess you could say, hunting down the student council is an insane move. Specifically Kirari. I'm very much interested to see how this goes down. And is this going to be how Mary is corrupted through this situation? I don't know. I don't know. Why do Sachiko and Aoi want to take out Kirari, though? What's their reasoning? Does Sachiko want to be president, or does she just not like Kirari? I'm genuinely curious here. And I genuinely want to know what the hell is going on. But I can't think of what it would be. But this episode, I would say, was vastly better than the first. Not only getting to see some little extra stuff with Midori, but the gamble was a lot more interesting, and the stakes that were set up at the end are insane. It's just, it really worked. It definitely felt more like Kakegurui to me. Not that the first episode didn't, it just, again, it was a slower start. So, but this second episode was much better. Again, I don't see how this is going to finish within 6 episodes. Unless all this is them taking on the student council, like, and trying to get to Kirari. It's like, I feel like that's too short. There's got to be more episodes coming in the future, but I haven't heard anything one way or the other. If anyone knows, please let me know. If, like, you've heard anything, if you know if there's more episodes coming in the future, please let me know, because I feel like there has to be at this point. I just don't think 6 episodes is enough. And, again, I don't know the manga. I don't know how long the manga is. I don't know how far it goes, so I don't know if there's going to be more. But I really kind of hope there is, because I just don't feel like 6 episodes will be enough to tell what this is set up. In the meantime, though, let me know what you thought of this episode of Kakegurui Twin down in the comments below. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See you all next time.